Those of you who are candidates, I hope you're familiar enough with the Heart Sutra to chant it. Just as Matsuo Roshi said, chant more with your mouth than with your ears. This time we chant without the dedication at the end.
I bet there were sentences at the beginning.
Without the yes, we can. Just only do the Heart Sutra.
Just the sentence.
And at the end we skip to the answer. Please join in chanting the Heart Sutra.
Heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra. Practicing clearly saw that all five aggregates are empty and thus relieve all suffering. Shariputra form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself forms sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. Shariputra.
seated, not everybody, not the candidates. That would be a little awkward. So today, you are here to witness more than one ceremony, twofer. We have the initiation ceremony for the class of 2019, which we were fortunate enough to have 11 candidates joining us this year. And as the ceremony continues, you will hear more explanation of what's going on. At the end, we don't think we'll have much time before lunch today. We'll ask you to join us at Tycoon for a celebratory lunch, if you like. But if we have any time, we may have a little time for questions and answers about precepts. I'll ask you to fetch us a small sharp knife from the kitchen. Yes, or maybe stab you. That's what Baroshi used to use a knife to represent the symbolic head shaving. So, we're going to ask each initiate candidate to step forward. Jukai is the Japanese word for this ceremony. It means formally receiving the precepts. Jukai Tokudo means literally, I think, means receiving the precepts. But Jukai is the initiation. Not a formal stage of training, but is a prerequisite for all future formal stages of training on the formal practice path of discipleship, priesthood, etc. So you're going to witness these initiates undergo Jukai, formally joining the Buddha Sangha. This is a choice they have made, declaring themselves formal Buddhists. The ceremony is open to anybody who's interested in it. So we'll ask each to step up, offering two pinches of incense, one to the forehead to dedicate yourself, and one simply raised to represent dedication and devotion to historical Buddha. So let's begin this side. Check forward. There's a small bow. Small pinch of incense to the forehead. With a small bow. Okay. So those in the front row, make sure there's enough space between you so that the ones in the back row can step between you instead of around. Small pinches. Like the fire department. I'm used to chip incense, so it's really difficult to get a small pinch. Many places today are not using incense because it is a breathing issue. People have asthma, air pollution. But incense is connected to both things in Zen and Buddhism. It said that when Master Dogen attended his mother's funeral, at the tender age of 8, one of them started in the back room. Set between his interviewers and his mother died early. He was only 7, 8 years old. One month closer to return. And he saw the incense rising through the air, the story goes. And for him, it symbolized impermanence. His mother had died. My teacher, Matsuo Baroshi, said incense symbolizes the Zen mind. We try to grasp the incense. Smoke. He evades our grasp. we stop grasping the smoke will embrace our home. This is the illustration of the Zen mind. If you're having trouble focusing, just catch an edge somewhere. And since it's ours also, the smell is connected to memory. So I've been smelling this since maybe since the mid-60s. So for me, it has a very immediate effect. Okay. And this is my seal of approval on these candidates. So I'd like to ask Casey to read the sermon. And as we continue, Ron will be commenting on the assessments.
Welcome. We gather to the initiation of these candidates onto the path of Zen, the way of enlightenment. We use the metaphors path and journey to describe the Zen life being undertaken. In early Buddhism, the phrases entering the stream was used. It suggests stepping into and being carried onward by the flowing Buddha wisdom. We use the English term initiation, which suggests a transition and the beginning of something new. This Tokudo ceremony is all these things and more. The term Tokudo is sometimes translated as attained the other shore, as we have just chanted in the Great Heart Sutra. Tokudo is a celebration of both beginnings and endings, of undertaking and attainment. These candidates are no newcomers to practice. They've been working hard for many years, and their practices are now strong and vital. They're well known to the Sangha and have made contributions to the center by regular attendance and support of our activities. So while we call this an initiation, it's merely an acknowledgement of something well underway. There's a wonderful story from the Lotus Sutra about a young man who grows up with a loving father in a fine home filled with treasure. Yet in his confusion and anger, the boy runs away in search of riches. He travels for many years and undergoes many hardships, never finding his riches until all memory of his home and family are lost to him. Years later, his father spies a ragged beggar in the distance, yet immediately recognizes his lost son. He sends attendants out to welcome his son, yet the boy flees, thinking that they were sent to beat him. The wise father's troubled, but devises a plan to slowly regain his son's trust. He sends an attendant dressed as a beggar to inform the son that meals are to be had for work at the mansion. Gradually, over much time, the son is given more and more responsibility in his work until, after many years, the lost son rises to oversee the mansion and all of the father's business interests. Only then does the wise father finally reveal his true relationship to his lost son. Only then does the son finally realize his birthright, that the riches he sought so fruitlessly were always in his possession. Our practice is like this. Tokudo marks the beginning of a search for something we already possess. As part of the ceremony, these candidates will undertake 11 of the 16 Buddhist precepts and 3 refuges, the 3 pure precepts and 5 grave precepts. The precepts are guidelines for living in accord with the Zen life. They help us to actualize and manifest our Zen practice. By undertaking the precepts, Tokudo becomes something we do, not just something we did. Bring our life into harmony and accord with the precepts requires attention to every action, every step.
Next, we have purification, purging with water. Water represents the tastelessness of sin, nourishing the flavor, all flavors. Also the non-duality, clarity. So the way it is, we chant Namu Shakyamuni Butsu, I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Probably more than 3 times this time. Please chant with me, Namu Shakyamuni Buddha. Take refuge in Shakyamuni. Namu Shakyamuni Buddha. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Shakyamuni Buddha. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Shakyamuni Buddha. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Shakyamuni Buddha. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Preparation for shaving the head. All days, literally shave your heads. Ceremonies, we actually shave our head. Some, and please keep your head shaved for the rest of your life, others do not. Some who are not going to shave their heads. Taking another page from Matsuoka Rishi's book. So we don't have any blood letting. No safety origami. Hey Huts, I shave your head. Hey Huts, I shave your head. Hey Huts. Hey Huts. Hey Huts. Hey Huts, I don't shave your head. Hey Huts. Hey Huts. Hey Huts. Pretty sure that as we're shaving for hygienic purposes as well. But in our case, it means symbolically leaving behind the past, entering into a new phase, a new life, kind of rebirth. And especially leaving behind your own opinion of your own past. So now the acknowledgement of karma. Go on, will strike the gong, large gong, chant the title, gong, large gong again. I will chant the first line, go on and strike the middle gong at the end of my line, and you repeat the line that I chant. So you have to pay strict attention.
The acknowledgement of karma.
All the karmic action ever committed by me since of old.
All the karmic arising from greed, anger, and delusion.
Born of this body, mouth, and mind.
Born of this body, mouth, and mind.
I now acknowledge
I now acknowledge
and accept all consequence
and accept all consequence
with equanimity.
with equanimity.
So basically, the acknowledgement of karma recognizes that it's called repentance. Everybody has some things they can't explain. Not everything can be explained being causality in this lifetime. So good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. This is our way of accepting what happens to us. It's not a matter of pointing this at somebody else and saying, oh, that's just their karma. Next, the three treasure refuges. In light of the difficulty of living this kind of life, we take refuge in the Dharma Sangha, the three treasures.
Three treasure refuges.
I take refuge in Buddha, the fully awakened one.
I take refuge in Buddha, the fully awakened one.
I take refuge in Dharma, the compassionate teaching.
I take refuge in Dharma, the compassionate teaching.
I take refuge in Sangha, the harmonious community.
I take refuge in Sangha, the harmonious community.
Now receiving the precepts, please repeat after me. I have taken refuge in Buddha.
I have taken refuge in Buddha,
Dharma,
Dharma,
Sangha.
and Sangha.
The Tathagata
The Tathagata
realized true enlightenment
realized true
and
enlightenment
is my great teacher.
and is my great teacher.
I have taken refuge
I have taken refuge
in the Tathagata.
in the Tathagata.
Please look with compassion
Please look with compassion
upon my humble vows.
upon my humble vows.
Now the three pure precepts. Please respond sincerely if you agree when I ask you the question. First pure precept, not creating evil, do no harm. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Second pure precept, practicing good, do only good. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
And the third pure precept, purifying intentions, do good for others. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
You must not break these three pure precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. Please bow. Next, the five grave precepts. You have received three pure precepts, and now the five grave precepts, which are precepts of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Affirm life, do not kill. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Be giving, do not take what is not freely given. Will you observe this precept until
Yes.
you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Not too eager then. Honor the body, do not engage in sexual misconduct. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Manifest truth, do not speak falsely. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
And proceed clearly, do not cloud the mind with intoxicants. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
You must not break these five grave precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. Please stop. So to say in passing, it's impossible to live without killing. The body is killing at all times. Proceeding clearly, we're constantly intoxicated. So these precepts are not easily understood. We observe them by breaking them, basically. But we begin to learn the depth of the meaning of not to steal, not to do harm, and so forth, as we practice. You have received the three refuges, the three pure precepts, and the five grave precepts. Will you observe these precepts until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
You must not break these 11 precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. When sentient beings receive the precepts, they enter the realm of the Buddhas, which is none other than the great enlightenment. Truly, they are the children of Buddha. And now the presentation of vestments. As we are presenting these, to go on, we'll do some further explanation of their meaning.
Presentation of investments. Wogesa. The Wogesa is symbolic of the robes worn by the Buddha and his followers. Traditionally, monks wove their own robes from discarded scraps as part of renunciation of the world of delusion. The metaphor of taking on new clothing is powerful and evocative. Wear your Wogesa when you sit as a reminder of this tradition in your undertaking today. These are Buddha's robes. Treat them with great respect.
The two insignias on the Wagesa represent AAG, the five-petal flower. I think there's a chrysanthemum that represents Soji, the two main training monasteries in Japan today. And also, Koroshi gave me my rakusu, which is a disciple ceremony vestment. He said, treat this as you would your own eyes. Take good care of your vestments. It's proper to wear the wagesa when sitting zazen pose. Some zendos ask that you not carry your beads in with you because they become a fidget. And clean, especially doing any work on soil, wagesa. Take it off and, or put it on backwards, like Mighty Mouse. Okay. They come in a box if you're interested. You're leaving your vestments at the temple. You might want to put your name on the end of the box so that they do not get mixed up with somebody else's. And should you progress along the path, becoming a disciple, you may want to return your vestments. So those can use them in the future. The next beads.
The Juzu beads are the Buddhist rosary. The 27 beads on the wrist rosary represent the traditional list of 108 delusions, which are considered hindrances on the path. The beads always come in multiples of 9. Think of each bead as representing 4 delusions. The tassel represents the roots of the lotus of wisdom. You may turn each bead as a concentration aid, much like counting the breath. What are the 108 delusions? You can create your own list.
I think I have about 1,000. Go to the front cabin and bring a small. This one, maybe. Last but not least. So now we have another incense offering. Everybody's just waiting for it. Sure. Very small bench. So each step up and begin, please. What are the certificates? You have them to me? Certificates. So we're going to call out your name. For you to step up and start with David Doss. And I'm going, when I say the name, you're going to. Say again?
Read this section here.
No, Andrew's going to read. Oh, did you read? Oh, you have a section to read, yes. So please do. Please read that.
Many traditions include the custom of receiving a spiritual name. The choice of Dharma name is deeply considered and reflects an acknowledgement and understanding of where the recipient is in their practice and where they might go. It becomes something to aspire towards and grow into. We develop complex associations with our birth names, and our identity hinges on this list of associations. A Dharma name can be a koan. It has no personal history. It can be a gate into a new way of seeing ourselves.
Okay. For David Doss, I'll ask you to step forward. One pinch of incense. You and I together with an incense, your certificate. Take over the others. 3 times. So the Dharma name we have selected for you is So Hongak. Hongak. The U is not silent. It means original enlightenment. Andrew will read a little bit to explain.
Hongak, original enlightenment. Theory that influenced many Buddhist schools in China through the text Awakening the Faith in the Mahayana. It states that in terms of absolute tathata, all living beings are fundamentally identical to tathata, being enlightened from the beginning.
I thought that meant something like sections. That's nice. So this indicates that somewhere inside is Buddha seeking Buddha. And so when we have so-called enlightenment, it simply means waking up to our fundamental nature. Please do your best to live up to this name. Next, Zena. My name is Patton. For you, we have selected the name, well, no, incense at first. You place one incense. And you and I hold it together 3 times around. Probably put it on something. We have selected the name Jiko. Your name again, David, is Hangak? Yeah, so it would be So Hangak. So means male and monk. Jiko Ni. Ni is a suffix which means non or female. Jiko. Jiko means true self. It's a tough name to live up to.
Jiko refers to the reality that the true self is comprised of all beings and all things.
Do your best. Fauna Stratton. 1 pinch. Small pinch. Come together. The Dharma name we have chosen for you, I've actually given once many years ago to a man. It's okay to give the same name to male and female in the same name. Kensho. You may have heard. Kensho Ni. It means simplified, seeing Buddha nature, seeing into the nature.
The term is often used in the Rinzai Zen tradition, where it refers to an enlightenment experience that usually happens during the process of koan practice.
That's Rinzai. Soto, this is the koan. So Dogen said, Master Bodhidharma said something like, it's a special transmission beyond scripture, beyond the words, seeing into the nature of man. And Dogen said, seeing into is still too distant. Congratulations, do your best. Matt. 1 pinch. Together. Always clockwise. So that's good. So for Matt Smoleski, who's practicing with us for some time now, so Narau, N-A-R-A-U, unusual, Narau. It means to study the self, or it means to study wholeheartedly. It's not a simple name.
Used in the phrase to study the self is to forget the self in Genjo Koan, where the word means to wholeheartedly study by engaging the entire body and mind in practice, beyond the boundaries of the person studying and the object that is studied.
I think you're up to that. It ties into what you do professionally. And we have Paul Baker. 1 pinch. Dharma name, Zen name, Dharma name, we've chosen Paul. It is Shikak. Zen name, you is not pronounced. So Shikak. It means actualizing enlightenment, but it also indicates the process of actualizing enlightenment. So it's not quite so simple as a goal to be achieved.
According to the Buddhist view that emphasizes the teaching of Shikak, although from the perspective of ultimate reality, all animate and inanimate beings are enlightened from the primordial beginning, in relative actuality, all beings are deluded and must practice in order to rediscover their Buddha nature.
This is your koan for now. Randall Henderson. So for Randall Anderson, we have chosen the Dharma name, Shihoin. It means the four Dharma,
Seals.
seals. I can't remember what S. Four Dharma seals. Seal is used a little differently in Buddhism. You know, if you got a letter from the king, it had the wax on it and the seal, you were sure, you could be confident that the content was genuine. And in Buddhism, the Zazen posture itself is called the Buddhist seal. And have confidence in that same way. So the four Dharma seals are a little expansion on that.
There are four aspects that confirm a teaching to be that of Buddhism. The seals are: everything contains suffering, everything is impermanent, everything lacks independent existence, and nirvana is tranquility.
In spite of that, or in the face of that, you do your best. Occasionally, I'll ask you your Dharma name for communication. So I want you to try to remember it, study it, assimilate it, just like the naming ceremonies for the Native American tribes. That became their true name. So if I forget your name when we meet, please be patient with me. It's when I give you a Dharma name that I think is your real name. So Brendan O'Flaherty. Okay. And for Brendan, we have chosen the name So, again for male monk, Shoji. It's not Shoji screen, not like a paper screen. It actually means life and death. And that sounds kind of like maybe a tough name, but life and death as one process, separation.
Shoji is the process of life in which we are born, live, and die. As a Buddhist term, shoji is used as the equivalent of the Sanskrit words jatamarana and samsara. Jatamarana refers both to the process of being born, living, and dying, and also to the four kinds of suffering or dukkha: birth, aging, sickness, and death.
That's quite complicated. Yeah, very fitting for you. Brennan Batts. So for Brennan, we've chosen the name Banpo, Banpo. It has many meanings. One is 10,000 things, the myriad things, or all dharmas as beings.
All beings, things, and phenomena. Ban, 10,000, myriad, or numberless. Po, beings or things. In Buddhist teachings, Ban Po is often presented as the opposite of self, as the subject of experience.
To the challenge. Taylor Brown. Okay. For Taylor, we've chosen the name Suki. Suki literally means moon, but in this case, it is used as the moon, symbolizing total function, or Zenki. There's a fascicle on Zenki that Dogen wrote, as well as one on Suki. So reading both those fascicles would be a good idea, and plus it's mentioned in Gento.
Suki, moon. Suki is the 23rd chapter of the 75 chapter version of Shobogenzo. In it, Dogen Zenji presents the moon as a metaphor for the functioning of the entire network of interdependent origination and its infinite contents.
So you would be reminded of your name every day, if you pay attention. Papriya. Raphael Jessup Circe, is it Circe or Circe? Circe. We have chosen an unusual name, Fusatsu. Fusatsu is a ceremony that's held every year. It's sometimes called full moon ceremony, and it's a remembrance. But in this case, it means something a little different. So Fusatsu ni, the last U is silent. Fusatsu ni. Bodhisattva, vow and repentance. It means the way of living by vow, a life of vow that is characteristic of Bodhisattva.
Okay, you got me on this one. How do you spell it?
Fusatsu. It's probably called out as a different word. Fusatsu is, hang on a second. It's always something.
Could it be?
It's not the first of the words. It's
Oh, it's the second one.
yeah. Anybody has to go to the restroom? In parentheses, saying Fusatsu. Parentheses. I think it's worth finding because I think it's worth it for all of you to read this book. I should have put page numbers on them. If we don't find it, we'll just ask you to ask Fusatsu to look it up. Not that many. Okay, we're gonna have to punt on this one. It's here though. Tathata, I wanted to explain, by the way, it was mentioned in the prior one. Tathata means thusness or suchness. Here it is. Oh, sorry about that. It's shown in Sanskrit.
Okay, Fusatsu. Repentance, confession, and vow renewal practice of Buddhist monks, usually performed twice a month, often at or near the time of the new moon and full moon.
So it becomes 24/7 Fusatsu. Paul Farr. Paul, we've chosen the name Zenki, which was mentioned in the prior name. This total dynamic function. And the moon symbolizes this in a very dynamic way, waxing and waning, etc. Total dynamic function. Zenki again is a classical Dogen.
This is the title of the 22nd chapter of the 75 chapter version of Shobo Genzo, in which Dogen Zenji used the word Zenki as an expression for the functioning of self and other, and subject and object, as one seamless reality.
So this brings to an end this celebration, but I wanted to make a concluding statement. So this is my seal of approval on all of these initiates who've now become formal Zen Buddhists and will forever hereafter be known by their Dharma name, I hope. So I declare that they have done this, and their certificate marks this date. We see ceremony in Zen as something that celebrates something that is already true. For instance, when a couple marries, they're already married in their own hearts. When somebody dies, they're already dead. They don't die because we do the funeral. So, purified and shaven, but atoned or at one with, past karma and action, and with the three treasures as refuge and the three pure and five great precepts as guide, and with new clothes to remind you of this day. Please begin, continue, and complete your new life in the Dharma. I charge the Sangha to welcome and cherish these candidates. Ordinarily, we would make a recession out, but we're going to ask the candidates to find a seat around the perimeter, so they might want to squeeze in. And we're going to continue with Yogi's ceremony, which is about the same, but should be briefer, since there's only one. Now, if anyone needs to take a break at this moment, I recommend you do so, if you want to run through the restroom. If anybody literally has to leave, you're allowed to do so anytime you want to. Yogi, please come close. So you're to witness the Soto Zen lay discipleship, a lay ordination ceremony for Robert Charles Yogi Simon Atkinson, who's been our Eno for what, over a year now, I think.
Since 2016.
Long time. Eno means he's in charge of the Zen, he takes care of business in here. So please offer 2 pinches of incense, small ones. And stick after you take from the mat. You stand on the mat. Again, this is my approval of this candidate. Yogi's been practicing for some time. We do have a statement that we would like Asa again to read. This time, as we go through the vestments, we won't bother to remind you the vestment is different this time.
In the words of our founder, Zengaku Matsuoka Roshi, the title of Zen disciple should not be just a name. It carries with it a great responsibility, both to be an example to the community and to the public. With this title, you are already a Zen instructor in public and within the Zen Center, and you must demonstrate your ability to perform the formal duties as well as your heartfelt sincerity, dependability, and respect for your Dharma Father, brothers, and sisters as living manifestation of the three treasures. Being a disciple of Zen entails a complete dedication and a change in your way of life. It should be reflected in your actions. Disciples practice the precept of not sparing the Dharma assets by adhering to the above and by supporting the center financially as well. You're one of the center's pillars, and it cannot exist without the commitment of the disciples. Another very important admonition for disciples is that you must regularly attend the center's meditation and special services to the best of your ability. You will find that once you make a sincere commitment to Zen meditation and to the center, enlightenment will grow in your life. Let me add to O-sensei's words that you should accept the designation of Zen disciple with humility, recognizing that while this title signifies a certain recognition of sincerity and devotion to practice, as observed by your Dharma Father and the community, it is not a certificate of accomplishment. True authentication of your practice is inseparable from the cultivation of it. How you actualize this in your life is entirely up to you. The true meaning of this ceremony will be revealed in your future life, much as the beauty of a flower is revealed one petal at a time as the blossom unfolds. Discipleship certification is not the beginning of a phase of training, but the beginning of true training. It is truly entering the gate of Zen.
Will we begin again with purification? Please repeat after me. Recite with me. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha
I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Shakyamuni Butsu. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Shakyamuni Butsu. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha.
Hatsu, unshave your head. Somebody asked me, yes, there are ceremonies in which we do actually shave your head. At least we shave the top, not the last piece. Psyche means a lay practice of the Dharma of staying at home. Okuda means the attainment of going beyond the experience of enlightenment. But enlightenment we don't treat in Zen as our goal to be achieved. Enlightenment is what we're already doing. This is the path of enlightenment. So we're not chasing after enlightenment. Okumura Roshi said, we're the no enlightenment school. Meaning, just to practice is already enlightenment. Awakening, in a spiritual sense, may be a different thing. So again, Doan will chant the title for Sangyemon, which is an acknowledgement of karma we did. I will chant the Japanese and then the English. You repeat the English.
Sangyemon, acknowledgement of karma.
Shaku, Shozo, Shokugo. All the karmic thoughts, speech, and action.
All the karmic speech, thoughts, and actions
Ever committed by me since time immemorial.
ever committed by me from
Since time immemorial.
since time immemorial,
Ayu Mushi Tonjanchi. Arising from beginningless ignorance.
arising from beginningless ignorance,
Arising from craving greed.
arising from craving greed,
Arising from misguided anger.
arising from misguided anger,
Arising from endless delusion.
arising from
Endless
endless
delusion.
delusion.
Jushin Kui Shisho Sho. Born of this impermanent body.
Born of this impermanent body,
Born of this impetuous mouth.
born of this impetuous mind,
Born of this clinging mind.
born of this clinging mind.
Yisai ga Gongkai Sangye. I now openly acknowledge.
I now openly acknowledge.
I now confess with humility.
I now confess with humility.
I now repent wholeheartedly.
Now repent wholeheartedly
And accept all consequence
and accept all consequences
with equanimity.
with equanimity.
Sankyemon.
Sankyemon, the three treasure refuges.
Namuki Butsu. I take refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in Buddha,
That's fully awakened one.
the fully awakened one.
Namuki Ho. I take refuge in Dharma.
I take refuge in Dharma,
The compassionate teaching.
the compassionate teaching.
Namuki So. I take refuge in Sangha.
I take refuge in
The
Sangha,
harmonious community.
the harmonious community.
Kie Butsu Mujo Son. To Buddha, the incomparably honored one.
The Buddha, the incomparable, honored one.
Kie Butsu Mujo Son. I'm sorry, Kie Origin Son. To Dharma, honorable for its purity.
The Dharma,
Honorable for its purity.
honorable for its purity.
And the impurity here is non-duality. Kie So Wago Son. To Sangha, honorable for its harmony.
The Sangha are honorable in its community.
Kie Bukyo. I venerate Buddha completely.
I venerate Buddha completely.
Kie Bukyo. I venerate Dharma completely.
I venerate Dharma completely.
Kie Sokyo. I venerate Sangha completely.
I venerate Sangha completely.
So these are the three treasures of Buddhism. That's what Roshi would often say. When any one of them disappears, Buddhism disappears. Please repeat after me. I have taken refuge in Buddha,
I've taken refuge in
Dharma,
Dharma,
and Sangha.
and Sangha.
The Tathagata
Tathagata
realized true enlightenment
realized true enlightenment
and is my great teacher.
and is my great teacher.
I have taken refuge
I have taken refuge
in the Tathagata.
in the Tathagata.
Please look with compassion
Please look with compassion
upon my humble vows.
on my humble vow.
So here, Tathagata is one of 10 honorifics given to Buddha during his lifetime. It's this thus come one who comes from and returns to suchness, or apprehends suchness, reality. So, 3 pure precepts. Please respond, yes, sensei, if you agree. First pure precept, not creating evil, do no harm. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Second pure precept, practicing good, do only good. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
And the third pure precept, purifying intention, do good for others. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Please observe these precepts as you become found. You have received 3 pure precepts, now the 10 grave precepts. These are precepts of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Affirm life, that means they're the way of life, natural way of life of a Buddha Bodhisattva. Affirm life, do not kill. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Be giving, do not take what is not freely given. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Honor the body, do not engage in sexual misconduct. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
And manifest truth, do not speak falsely. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Proceed clearly, do not cloud the mind with intoxicants. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
See only your own faults. By the way, those 5 sounded familiar, right? Those were the first. Now these are the disciples' precepts, which become a little more social, transactional. See only your own faults. Do not discuss the faults of others. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Know self and other as one. Do not praise yourself at others' expense. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Share generously. Do not spare the Dharma assets. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
Actualize harmony. Do not indulge in anger. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
And know intimacy with all things. Do not defame the 3 treasures. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood?
Yes, Sensei.
So you must not break these 10 grave precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. So those of you who witnessed the first ceremony may notice the road gets a little steeper. Master Dogen, in one of the lines he did not translate from the Chinese original, said, as the path goes higher, demons flourish. He didn't want any negativity in there. But when sentient beings receive the precepts, they enter the realm of the Buddhas, which is none other than the great enlightenment. Truly, they are the children of Buddha. So please take the upright kneeling posture. The Kyosaku is a stick some of you may have heard about or read about. It's rather misunderstood. We took it very seriously. It's considered the direct teaching of the flow of compassion. Please bow and rise as you are able. Matsuoka Roshi's collection of Kyosaku, named after the stick. There are 2 separate chapters on it. So those of you who are interested can follow up. Now the vestments. Marco was actually vesting. You first. So the vestment that is the wagesa, and symbolizing the monk's robes, is removed and replaced with the rakusu. Rakusu is a bib-like affair. It's a small version of this okesa, also hand sewn. By the candidate himself or herself. It belongs to me. When I fill it out with today's date and the event that's happening today for Yoji. Yoji, Dharma name means protecting practice, and literally in this case, protecting Zen practice. And the role as Ino, Yoji has been doing this for some years now. We adopted the sewing practice, which I was undetermined about, ambivalent in the beginning, but I think it, because you make it yourself, it helps you appreciate the value of it, meaning of it, how to take care of it. So we do 9 bows to each other. I should step on that side of the mat. I do standing bow, you may do standing or prostration. Standing bow is always proper. We do 3 to each other. You can give us this. As always, represent the 3 treasures. This represents the so-called vertical aspect of the transmission. You come to this practice by way of my agency. Turn, face the altar, do 3 bows together. This represents the horizontal aspect of the practice, equality before the Buddha. And by the way, this Buddha is not an idol. This is an artistic representation of your Buddha nature, serene, balanced, in original samadhi, or balanced state. Please offer 1 pinch of incense. This is your acceptance of the responsibilities entailed in becoming a disciple. And this is my seal of approval. This new Zaki to disciple. So I announce that Robert Charles Atkinson, Dharma name Yoji, has formally become a lay disciple, Soto Zen Buddhism. I charge his Sangha to welcome him and to lend him your support in his practice. Not an easy path. We have a paper certificate for you which simply documents the ceremony, but the practice is your actual certificate. So we'll now do a procession around. Clockwise, I will be going this way. Yoji will follow behind. Andrew will follow behind. You will step in behind Yoji. You'll step in behind Yoji. Andrew will be the other side. So Mike, if we can have one every small bell, tiny bell, tiny bell, one every 3 steps. We'll keep our heads bowed. After all of the candidates have joined in the procession, we'll start one at a time. Bow to them as they come. You step in. Okay? Place your hand as you can. At the end of the line. You got it. You got it. You bow. This is welcoming the new initial disciples into the community.
You can have a seat if you'd like. Remain standing. If you like. We'll be back in a minute for pictures and congratulations. Yeah, if you could pass back the switch cards.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2019.
So everyone in the ceremony, please join. Please bring the lights up, and Dave, if you can shoot from that angle, from the door facing in. If you can catch us all, if you join here, you may have to form 2 rows. Andrew, can you bring up the lights? I'm a little afraid with the backwash. But if you turn these lights on. Yeah. Maybe not those. I don't think that one's in
We move in as high as possible, please.
And 2 rows, can we do 2 rows and turn this way? Mike, if you stand on the end, look at us from that end. Let's see, I think you would stand in front and back and back. 3 people in front, 5 people in back. Your call. Like that. We're good, coming in with 2 more. Now, I think we turn and face each other in the middle like this. Everybody turn this way a little bit. Is it 45? Then it has to be-
So can we have this, just a little bit, and then what's the include? Oh, I think that may be.
Make sure you're between two heads if you're in the back row.
Yeah.
Zena, I think maybe Bonnie, you should step up front.
Yep, there we go. Oh, now that's looking a little bit.
You need hold the focus down and get an edge, it'll stop that. You might have to get the edge.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I think that's good.
And I think one of myself and, yeah. The little button on your left, the upper button on your left shows you the images that you have in the back. On the back. Anybody else want to take a picture? Okay, how are we doing on time?
We're close to 12, almost 12.
So, assuming nobody has any questions. How many can join us for lunch? We do notice count. Hold it for a second. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, keep them up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Give them a call. Wonderful, thank you for being here.